Right, so it all kicked off in Belfast yesterday. Guess what the #1 story is on social media today? Belfast Lord Mayor, Karen, faces death threats after riots. Ooh, death threats. We've all had them. We've all had them, love. Get to the back of the queue. Can't move for death threats around my house. Don't see me whinging about it though, dear. It's a non-story. It's like Cathy Newman. She gets destroyed in front of 10 million people, so they shift the focus, and then everyone's like, oh no, we've got to worry about the death threats. I told you, I save my favourite ones, like Shabazz here. I get a kick out of them. It's a non-story. A death threat was a big deal back in the day when you had to take the time to buy some paper and an envelope, buy some stamps, sit down, write the letter, or, cut out some squares from a newspaper. That'll take you a few days. Actually put some effort in. Walk to the post office, find someone's address, send them the letter. Yeah, back then, in 1985, getting death threats was a big deal. Now, they are 10 a penny. This shouldn't even be news. Also, it doesn't need to be corroborated, you can just say it. Anyway, before I go mental, that's going to be something of the topic today. I also need to talk about this fella. Yeah, because it's funny. Okay, this bloke, apparently he was denied entry as he was about to make history for Somalia. Yeah, so they could have 500 world-renowned pirates and kiddie fiddlers. Finally, they could have someone with a proper job. So that'd be good news for them, wouldn't it? But alas, America being a real country that actually has rules and regulations and borders, something people in Europe can only dream of, he wasn't allowed in. And he was denied entry at Miami International Airport on Saturday over vetting concerns after US Customs and Border Protection said in a statement, without giving details of those concerns, Artan was issued a visa to travel to the US last week, according to the Somali embassy in Kenya that processed it. So basically, because the United States actually vets people, they've looked into his past, realised he has friends and family members in prescribed terrorist organisations and said you can't come in. So again, they're all melting down about this on Twitter. It's not even a story. It is a non-issue. If you have friends and families that promote death and mayhem, no, you shouldn't be allowed a visa to come to America. That's not controversial. And 99% of people in the Western world, even the lefties, generally agree with basic background checks for people entering your country, don't they? So it's a non-issue. Also, apparently he swapped a few letters with Richard Reid, and apparently his football boots were hissing when he was at the airport. Yeah, they're meant to have laces, mate, not fuses. And then everyone on social media, again, they're just doing the meme. They're doing the meme. As I said, Mr. Wars, the guy's a genius. He's a visionary genius. 80% of the posts by the left on X are them doing the meme. You remember the meme, don't you? That one. Yep, that one. Honestly, at this point, it seems to make up the majority of posts on X by those on the left. It's the exact same with what went on in Belfast. Every second post is people going, oh my God, nobody complains when a white guy murders someone, as if they don't know that the reason people are complaining about it is because the ones doing the murdering shouldn't be in the country anyway. There isn't a man alive over the age of about 12 who's ever read a newspaper in the entirety of the United Kingdom that's never heard of like Peter Sutcliffe or Harold Shipman or Alfred West and his crazy paving. These people are like infamous the world over. Nobody thinks that white people don't murder people. So again, they're just doing the meme, aren't they? So as I said, if they're doing it, just do what I do. Give them your time for one single post. And that post is, of course, when you rip the piss out of them and then put them on mute and get on with your day. Because I'm sick and tired of it. I'm a busy man. I've got too much on to be wasting my time. I see some of you lot doing it in the comments, like 20-thread arguments, where the lefty is pretending not to understand something that a 10-year-old can grasp. So don't waste your energy on them. Take the piss and then mute them and get on with your day. Which takes us back to this story, as I said. So apparently they're all making hay with it. It was the #1 trending story on the news tab this morning. Donnelly, a Sinn Féin councillor, was installed as Lord Mayor on June the 1st, and she pledged to be a champion of diversity and reach out to all the communities in her inauguration speech. The threats followed a Sudanese refugee's alleged knife attack on a man in North Belfast. That's another one they're doing the meme for. Have you seen the posts from them like that? Actually, the actually guys are turning up. Actually, he wasn't Somalian. He was Sudanese. Checkmate, racist. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Is Sudan one of the beach towns north of Hartlepool, is it? Is that where Sudan is? If it is, if it's just a stone's throw from our simian pestering friends in Hartlepool, then that's fine. But it isn't, is it? And they know it isn't, and you know it isn't. So who cares what manner of dusky, exotic gentleman hailing from another continent he is? Who cares what little tribe he belongs to? He should never have been in the country in the first place. And the same can be said for, I nearly said dozens. Dozens are just the drop in the ocean. We shouldn't even be name-dropping individual people, should we? I made this point in a post earlier. That one. Someone's gathered together 15 high-profile incidents. And I know it's tragic, and obviously we should remember these people's names, but it's a drop in the ocean. It's almost a rounding error. When you look at the ocean of blood that you've had forced upon you and your children by 30 years of politicians who promised they were going to do the exact opposite. The British people have been anti-immigration for decades, and all they did was kept importing more of them. Every one of these people should still be alive, but to focus on these 15 individuals trivialises the issue, because the actual numbers are going to be in the hundreds of thousands. If you just include life-changing injuries or life-changing incidents, sexual assaults, full-blown surprise sex incidents, Cologne-style machete chopping your knickers off down an alley type stuff. If you look at the violence, the beatings, the stabbings, the abuse, the grooming, if you look at it all, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of victims. So it almost feels trivial to focus on a few individuals, doesn't it? As sad as it is, Rhiannon White was terrible. Terrible. Just a hard-working, proper working-class lass trying to get on in the world. Screwdriver in the face 30 times from a bloke who, again, I don't even want to attempt to pronounce his name. But these are the merest drops in the ocean of blood that have been forced upon you. So I don't want to focus on them. I don't. I'm going to leave you with one appalling bit of news in reference to the androgynous android, our detestable, lamentable, treacherous, fork-tongued Prime Minister, gobbing off this morning like he does, like he always does. The scenes in Belfast last night were shocking. That shit. Acting like RoboCop the second people get annoyed at his policies and his government. Turns a blind eye, head of the CBS, turned a blind eye for 20 years when tens or hundreds of thousands of children were getting tortured, and then the second you get annoyed about Southport and Rudu Kanubu going on a stabbing spree against little children, or a bloke trying to lop someone's nut off in the middle of the street, soon as you lose your temper about it, then he turns into Ed 209 on steroids. It's actually funny that he's this lacking in basic self-awareness. So I'm not going to bother reading you his juvenile, ridiculous post. There isn't any point. Mr. Finder's comment there's a good one. You sound more outraged about the protest than the Somali trying to behead someone. Yeah, of course he is. And it was the same at Southport. He mustered far more rage about the response to Southport than he did about the ventilator of children at Southport, so this is his MO as far as I can see. But to those that parrot the Prime Minister and say two-tier justice, again, I mean, they're just doing the meme, but because it's so painfully obvious. But to those people that say that, I would point them at this story. Vic's Digbo Rub, his brother, Gurpreet Digbo Rub, he lied to the police that Henry hadn't been stabbed and had racially attacked his brother. He caused all this. You've all heard the phone calls. Police also recorded him conspiring with Vikram in the police car. 6 months later, he was arrested on multiple weapons charges and is currently on bail for them. And he's still a free man, apparently. Meanwhile, Rhys Robinson, 21-year-old lad, threw 2 stones at the Southampton protest, didn't actually hit anyone, and was jailed for 2 years and 1 month within a week of it happening. There you go. A victimless crime. You know, like that old adage, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it actually make a sound? If you threw a stone at nothing and didn't hit anything, did you actually commit a crime? Yeah. In Starmer's Britain, you get remanded in custody and within a week of it, you're in jail for 2.5 years. But if you facilitated murder, facilitated by agents of the state, if you did that, well, of course you were doing the state's bidding, so of course you're not remanded. Yeah, I mean, you get caught with an Uzi in the middle of the street and you get caught conspiring to commit murder or assist a murderer, well, you don't get remanded and you're still out and about. 6 months after you're caught with the weapons and 8 months after your brother murdered a man and you like to cover it up. So, yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Interesting. Anyway, to sum up, she's facing nothing. She's facing nothing. It's a victimless crime. Probably spurious, just making them up. You don't need to present any evidence for these things. At least I showed you a screenshot. What's she got? Just a word? The word of a politician. Imagine inhabiting a planet where people think the word of a politician is worth anything at all. In summary, that's not a story. That's not a story. And that's not a story. Full support and solidarity for what? No, none of it's a story. The story took place 2 days ago, and all these people are doing is pretending that they don't understand it so they can get you talking about something else. I'll tell you what the story is. That is the story. And that's what we have to keep talking about. Put your fingers in your ears, do what they do when they don't like reality. Stick your fingers in your lugs and la 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 all the way through the noise about some shit-for-brains woke politician who caused all this misery in the first place, or at least helped cause it. Having a feces hurt, allegedly, by people who are rightfully angry at the state of the nation. When your leaders are more concerned about your reaction to the lopping off of heads and the butchery of innocent children, when they're more concerned about your reaction than they are about the crimes themselves, they aren't leaders. They're the enemy. And God willing, I will live long enough to see them treated as such. But that's just my opinion. If you think Starmer's a splendid fellow, please, take some more of your medication. I don't want you to have a seizure or, be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of your life. There is still some hope for your rehabilitation. But yeah, you can leave a comment down there for us all to laugh at if you want. And I'll see the rest of you tomorrow, all right? Thanks for tuning in. Toodle pip. Cheers.